Hello, my name is Dr. Arthur Matrunu. I've dedicated my life to providing surgical care to patients with heart disease. My life began in the slums of Soweto in South Africa, where I learned to overcome adversity and illnesses, including the death of my best friend. That's why I want to be a resource for you and your family for consultation related to heart and cardiovascular needs. You can learn more about me by visiting my website, which is at zuluchaskada.com.
All right, hey folks, ROLAND GRIMES, not just sports entertainment show, here with my resident co-host. Put your hands together for Mr. Self-Empowerment, ladies and gentlemen, Wilbur Skipper. As always, Skip's got his game face on right now. Every time I introduce him, Skip looks like he's getting ready to shoot that 30-foot jumper with no time on the clock. Skip, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. You have to take it serious. It's a great business to be in, but I'm focused. I'm ready to go.
I have to tell you though, man, you definitely look good.
I appreciate it. Well, give all of this to the wife. Sharon, love you, baby. Keep dressing me.
Sharon, love you. I want you to dress me too. So I'll be in Skip's closet tonight. All right, so just make sure that's another story. Anyway, hey folks, with us today is a gentleman by the name of Mr. Anthony Commodore. Now, he is I'm going to get some of this correct right now, and then some of it he's going to correct me a little bit later. He is in the filmmaking business. He's an author, and he wears a few other hats that he's going to tell you about in a little while. But as he does, he has this great book called The Other Foot. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for my good friend, Mr. Anthony Commodore. Now, I must start by saying, someone told me earlier, they were like, man, look, I'm going to introduce you to Anthony Commodore. I said, wait a minute. You obviously don't know me. I grew up on P4, Brick, the Commodores. Well, I'm never going to forget this guy's name. So I know growing up, people used to throw jabs at you about your last name. All the time. So when you came in, they just they played Quick House when you walked in?
See, a lot of people now don't know the name Commodore.
Oh, that's right. In today's world.
In today's world, so back
they just know Lionel Richie.
Lionel Richie. Back in the day. So back in the day, like I said, I went since I was in second grade by the name of Commodore. No one knew my first name, no one knew my middle name. No. It was all Commodore, so I kept it.
Man, I wish I was in the second grade with you, man. He would have had a ball. Because I would have told stories about you that just make no sense to anybody else on the face of the earth. Quick drawing and some other things, man. I had you covered. Look, do me a favor, before Skip takes over, tell me about The Other Foot.
The Other Foot is about, one is a global project, and it took me about 2 years to write it. It's about a white male from the state of Maine who lived there his whole life. I actually went to Maine to learn how they live.
Man, that's what white folks in Maine, so you ain't gonna go there.
The entire time I was in Maine, I saw one brother.
You saw one brother. He was milking a cow.
And we were at a shopping mall. So I pretty much built a story around, if you go to Maine, very beautiful place, great place to live. So the book was centered around a kid who grew up very smart, got skipped in school, loving family, mother, father, sister, and brother. He was the youngest, but he was the biggest person in his family. He was 6'5", 250 pounds, very smart.
Oh, small guy. I'm sorry, small relatively. The biggest one in his family, not in mine.
So he got skipped through school, started working at a top accounting firm. And the accounting firm in New York City saw his talents and we need to bring him down here. So he moved to New York City against his parents' will, meets a black woman, 5'3", 125 pounds. Long story short, they get married. Throughout the marriage, she starts to abuse him. And because he never seen or had domestic violence in his family, he would never get her back. So in 5 years, he would go to work with black eyes, broken limbs, like a woman would in domestic violence case. So after 5 years of abuse, she tries to stab him. He actually stabs her in the process, kills her. Now his whole life is in New York City courtroom. How are you going to find this big white guy innocently killing this little white woman? Little black woman, although he's the actual victim, and he struck back in self-defense. So,
man, how long have you had this imagination, Mr. Commodore?
I had a buddy who I used to work with in the state of Maine, and when he died of an aneurysm, I went up to visit his family. So I said, I like this place up there. And I went back to spend more time and see how they live. And I advised him, I'm going to write a book based on what I saw in the state of Maine. Then I had to go to New York City to learn the laws. Domestic violence.
So it wasn't just imagination. You picked up on some vibes when you were in Maine and in New York. Man, I can't wait to talk to you off camera about some of this.
Well, before you decided that you were going to write this particular book, did authorship ever cross your mind prior to thinking about what happened in Maine?
No, not at that time, because back then, some years ago, I was an actor. I did several stage plays. I did a few films. Matter of fact, this guy that's sitting right up there, Richard Brown, he actually called me about 2.5 years ago after seeing me on stage and said, I want you in my film. So I acted in his film called Party, which I played the drug. So after that, I believe that was my last film, then I started getting into my own direction.
Well, speaking about film, since now you can actually say that after this show, you would have been a guest on the Roland Grimes Not Just Sports Entertainment Show. Do you think you can do us a favor and talk to that gentleman to see if he can find a role for Bubba and Skipper?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll be the short black woman and you the tall white guy. We'll play the other foot part too.
As a matter of fact, folks, you might not be able to see him, but he gave us a thumbs up. Give him a round of applause. Thank you. We're going to be on film, yes.
Coming to the silver screen, Skip and the casual. Now, what is the transition from being an actor to a producer?
You have to have an imagination. You have to just...
Oh, so I did get it right earlier.
One heck of an imagination. You have to, for one, you have to be creative and to know how to write what you actually vision, and just pretty much be more creative and kind of keep up with what's going on.
Does it help to be born crazy? I mean,
sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes, but you have to be calm.
Calm and crazy.
Calm and crazy.
Yeah. So when do you, as a filmmaker or producer, for some people they have a quiet time. I know when I'm writing my soon-to-be book that will be on the market, I like to drop down the family room, quiet storm, quiet music, so my thoughts can just regather themselves and just produce positive stuff that I'm writing about. When do you find your quiet time? Because you said that you have to have this imagination. So when do you find time to process all this?
Do you drive back up to Maine and make it happen?
When I wrote my first movie, I was at work and I left something at home because I work overnight, and I was driving down a dark road, and when I turned onto my street, I almost hit a deer. And right then, I thought of a movie, and I thought of a horror movie. So when I got back to work, instead of working, I started writing movies. Wow. And I wrote this movie in about 2 weeks.
Man, them damn deer. Hey folks, Roland Grimes, Not Just Sports Entertainment Show. We're going to take a break. We'll be back shortly with Mr. Anthony Commodore. Sit tight. Now, I know you all think that's a clapping machine, but it's actually real people here at the Society Lounge. Let's hear it for the people again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Roland Grimes Show. Those are real people. No machines here. Real people. Hey folks, back here with another real person who has a vivid imagination and has some encounters with deers that we're just beginning to learn about right now. So in case you didn't know, Anthony Commodore wrote his first movie after almost hitting a deer. Anthony, how does almost hitting a deer translate into a movie in your world?
Well, one thing it did is scare me. Because I didn't see it and it came back to me. And after it scared me, and when I drove back, like I said, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was so dark, and as I'm driving, the idea came to me. Actually, I can show you all a glimpse of a trailer that I put together for my horror movie, which is like a micro. So when it happened, as I'm driving back to work, I already knew exactly what I'm going to write, and the title of the horror movie is called Why Us.
Say that again.
Why Us.
Why Us?
Yes.
And it took you about 2 weeks to write.
It took me about 2 weeks to write it.
Okay. Skip Why Us.
Okay, so
No, right. New territory.
So going back to the film production part, you have to have a vivid imagination. You have to be able to wrap your mind around the story, but you have to write the story.
Yes.
You have to write in the characters.
Yes.
How does that take place? I mean, just walk us through the process.
Well, first, like I said, I had to create characters based on the vision that I had.
Okay.
And a lot of times you'll find yourself scratching characters because they will walk out of your vision. And then you have to just keep focused.
So it's like the movie Dirty Dozen, they have to like die when the parachute comes down. You scratch them out of the movie.
Yeah, so it was hard to continue to create characters and like erase characters. So once the storyline came together, you knew exactly what type of person would fit. And then came a huge auditioning process, because then you have to see exactly what you want on the film.
And as that person out front, which you are, you not only have to have this vivid imagination, you not only have to write the characters and write the story, but now when it comes to the audition aspect of it, you also now have to see each individual and visualize whether or not they can play that part.
Absolutely.
So that's part of the casting. If I'm not wrong.
Absolutely.
Now, do you know sometime from the first time someone interviews for a part that that's my guy or that's the young lady I want to have, or do you go through a 3-tier process? And how does that work?
A person can walk in. I mean, you can walk on a set and audition. You can have that look.
Okay.
But the second you open your mouth, everything goes away. A person can come up on stage that doesn't have that look, but will project exactly what you want and how you want it. Like, okay, I want this person.
Wow.
Versus this person, because you're not going to compromise your film because of the way someone looks. It's what they actually bring. And if they just so happen to have a look, it makes it for even better.
Wow.
So when someone auditions for you and you don't choose them, do they like go outside and bash your window and stick an ice pick in your tires, man?
No, because some of them know that they wouldn't have an opportunity again to audition at some
Oh, so don't burn your bridges.
Yeah, never burn your bridges. And I started filming in December, and I had to stop filming, recast all over again and start filming with the whole new cast. And we shot the whole movie. It took us 3 straight months to shoot it. We shot every day but one day, and because of rain, we couldn't film. And I got right there, Richard Brown. He helped me film. He was one of my directors, and we filmed straight through. Like I said, I do have a trailer. I'd love for you all to see it.
Absolutely. We're going to definitely tell. Now, when you look at the aspect of everything she did, okay, you just spoke about a director. So we have a person in directorship position, directing, but you're still behind the scenes, overlooking everything that happens. And if something goes wrong, you're jumping in the set to say, no, we can't do that, we need to take a tape and do it all over again.
Well, with this particular movie, I pretty much did a lot of the right thing. I do have cameras in my room.
Okay.
And when I started my production, I had to find a way to make money. So before I even started filming, I did photography for 2 years. And I saved every penny. I didn't spend anything. The more money I made, the more equipment I had. And I had enough money to purchase all my equipment. So from the lights, the cranes, the cameras. So it took all of that, and then it was time to actually start the film process. And I had to pick a crew. pretty good director, you got a record resume. Yeah. And then you have to audition for your directors, your lighting technicians, your sound guys, even your makeup artists. I had a line of makeup artists. Because it was a horror film, we needed different looks. Absolutely. Like monster looks, ghostly looks, a lot of blood. So we went through a huge process.
Okay, so getting back to the film aspect of what you do, is it safe for me to say that you're probably wearing 15 to 20 hats?
Oh, absolutely.
Based on what you do. I mean, I know you talk about having a director, you have your lighting guys, you have all the other people that are in the intricate parts. Yes. But you're still wearing these hats.
Yes. As a producer, you have to do everything. You have to make sure you know how to do everything. Because if someone faults, you have to step in and say, okay, no problem. I will take care of it myself. So my first film, I was able to pretty much do all of that, and I had great help. I don't think there was a time where I actually had to step in and say, okay, don't worry about it.
Which is a credit to your staff.
A credit to you.
Yeah.
And then there were locations. That was one of the hardest things because we had to secure locations like the funeral home. When I first started filming, there were people who gave me advice, well, film in your basement, you know, go outside and take a picture of something and film in your basement. I didn't want that quality of film. If I want to film in a funeral home, if you see funeral home, I'm doing funeral home. So we were able to go out and get a funeral home. They gave us a pretty good chapel, a brand new coffin, and that was actually our first day of filming. We were able to get nightclubs, hospitals, so we had to do even hotels. So we had to do a lot of scouting out in the public, and we offered film credits.
Hey, we're going to take a quick station break. We're going to come back and finish up with Mr. Anthony Commodore in a few minutes. Roland Grimes, Not Your Sports Entertainment Show. We'll be right back at you in a minute. Thank you. Thank you, folks. Welcome back. Anthony Commodore, Mr. Will Skipper, Self-Empowerment. Anthony, when you finish putting all of this together with this film, the casting, the crew, the production, you're wearing 37 different hats, you have a finished product, what do you do with it?
Well, then you're at the hardest part of your film. And
that's the, wait a minute. After you do all of this, now you're at the hardest part?
The hardest part. The hardest part is post-production, which is editing and distribution. Because then you have to actually put yourself out there and find someone to pick up your movie and your product, which is not easy. But when you are a reputable person, a lot of people are looking at what you do. That's why I'm careful when I post on Facebook. I don't post much, just pretty much a good morning or whatever. They look at what you do, they look at the quality of work you do. Sometimes I will film what you call monologues, and I post it on Facebook because I know that there are people who love it. Then you get calls and, well, we would love to do something with your movie by us. You know, you'll have your Netflix, Hulu, even cable networks, film festivals, because I can submit to different film festivals, like the American Black Film Festival, the Sundance, and try and win the film festival. So the editing and then distribution are the hardest part. Filming is easy. Filming is easy, filming is fun, but there's you can't even think for free. Yeah. Filming costs. It cost so much that I had doubt when I wrote my second movie. But by that time, there were people who already commented and said, we like the best in your product. And once someone calls you and says, we would love to invest, that's a call that a lot of people don't get at all. So with this movie here, Why Us, we're going to be able to distribute it in different ways. Now I have an option of what I want to choose to do with this post-production. There's a lot of local area filmmakers. Sometimes they will film their movie, go to Oxon Hill or Magic Johnson and rent the theater out for a weekend. I would love to go that route at a later point. But when I film, I want my projects to be global.
Yeah.
I want everyone to see it. Not just reach everyone. So like Netflix, Redbox, and submitting it to
Well, the Netflix, the Redbox, those are relatively new. Before there was something else. And in the future there's going to be something else.
iTunes.
Well, now when we look at film, because, and I'm sure I can speak for both as well, we look at the good side, the in between, the bad. We look at some of the films where we were told that some of the people that were in the film production was on drugs or had an alcohol problem, other issues. I mean, how do you manage all of these different personalities that are right there? Because I'm sure some of this stuff happens, whether or not you've seen it or not. It happens, but yet, when we look at it from a consumer standpoint, we don't see that. If you can't touch on that.
Well, we were fortunate in this production not to have any of those problems. We were very selective in who we picked. That's why it's always good to have bios, resumes, references. How was this person in your film? Well, this person stayed drunk. So you seek out professionals. When you're paying people, you expect the best from them. Whatever you do, and we explain to them because we have production meetings. Whatever you do in your personal life, do not bring a mistake. You come to the set drunk and we can smell it. We want to get you out of this car. And we haven't had that period where someone came to the set drunk, or we had divas on the set who wanted certain things.
Attitudes.
They want to sleep with the producer to get the movie.
Absolutely
Right. Folks, this is real talk. This stuff does happen.
So when that happens, it's real life now. We're not going to front on people on my show. On our show. So having said that, this happens. And we don't want people to go into any of these industries and think it's one thing and then encounter something else. It's better for them to know so they're prepared for it. So when you're given these options and these opportunities come to you, how do you deflect, how do you dismiss, how do you handle it?
stay focused. Because as a film producer versus a porn dog, what you have to lose. Because one mistake I make, I can pretty much lose everything.
Really?
One complaint, you can lose everything.
All of your accreditations.
All your accreditation. And if someone says, well, Mr. Commodore sexually assaulted me or made an advance at me, everything's gone wrong. And that's not a good thing. So, like I said, you have to stay focused. There are people that constantly comes at you. That's why with my new production staff, I hired a new brand new production staff, where the only interactions I have is with my production manager and my director. And that's it.
So you don't have any, outside of maybe correcting something on the set, you have very little, if any, interaction.
And this movie now, I serve with a Cougar Star, my next movie, I serve as an executive producer.
Okay.
My job is to get the funding for the movie. Like I said, I hired a director, production manager, producer, production assistant, my own personal assistant, to make sure that my job is just to step back and bring in money.
Right, but when you say my job is to do this, basically you're the one that hired yourself to do this.
Yes.
So what has to happen for you to determine, well, this is going to be my job on this next film compared to the last film? How do you make that determination?
The last film, I pretty much did everything myself. Myself and Richie. We did all the filming, we did everything. But with investors coming in to give monies, we don't have to do that.
Oh, yeah, you can take it.
Yeah, they will bring their entire film. And my job is to go out there and constantly try and see more money. To have a producer. And a producer pretty much runs your show.
Okay.
They run pretty much everything. Production manager pretty much runs everything over the producer.
Okay.
And then you have,
So you have your layers.
You have your
The
layers.
executive producer goes out, tries to put enough money in and those resources in so the project can be completed and distributed.
So yeah, we have table reads, we have production meetings, and the producer and the manager pretty much runs everything. I can attend the meetings if I want. If I do come to the meetings, I will sit back and I will say hello. Because there's pretty much nothing for me to say. So it's a difference when you have money and when you're doing things on your own. When you're doing things on your own, you're reaching out to actors, you're calling actors saying, we need you on the set, and hurry up and stuff like that. But now I don't have to do anything.
Skip, we got about 60 seconds. Can I ask a quick question? I'm turn it over to you. How long was it before you started to get to some of that money that you're talking about? Were you in the business for 3 years, 5 years, 12? What?
We've been in business for 5 years.
Well, my question was, you spoke earlier about the financial aspect of it. I don't know if we have time to address this before we go to break, but if we do.
No, actually, we're closing up, so finish the question.
Yeah.
Don, my timekeeper, we're going to extend about another minute. Finish the question.
Couple questions since we're finishing up. First of all, how expensive is it for you to produce a film? Number one. And then number two, what are some of the projects you have going in the future that we need to know about? And we want to get your contact information for everybody to be able to contact you if they need to be able to.
To film a decent movie in this area, it will cost you no less than $100,000.
$100,000. Okay.
So you're looking at $100,000 plus.
Okay.
And my next project is, like I said, we're in pre-production. We're going to start filming in about 2 months.
Okay.
It's called which is a pretty good tearjerker. So we're all set, and this time we'll actually have well-known actors who've been in movies before, stuff like that.
Okay, and then how can people reach you? Give us some contact information, websites, that type of stuff. So
If you want them to reach you, at least see some of your projects.
Well, like I said, you guys want to see like a quick clip.
Well, actually, what we're going to do is we're going to access that clip and then we'll put it embedded within the show so other people see it as well if you'd like.
Okay, so real quickly, in terms of people reaching you, do you want to know how you can reach you before we close out?
You can reach me at malacom.production@gmail.com. That's malacom.production@gmail.com.
Okay. All right, folks. Hey, wrapping up, Roland Grimes, Natural Sports and Entertainment Show. Global Skipper, Anthony Commodore, Don Briscoe, thanks. One Shot Fred, as always. Sandra on the makeup, God bless. We'll be in touch real soon. Have a good night.